Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 3410 Southeast 158th Avenue here in Portland. Located, or I should start with saying, I describe everything as if you're standing out in the road facing the front of the house. So we are at the front left corner of the home. The clean out, actually got a pretty good landmark here if you ever lose track of this or the bush overgrows it. The clean out sits almost perfectly in front of the foundation vent here. This is the front foundation wall, about 3-4 feet in from the corner. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water is running. You're zeroed out. Off we go. And right out of the gate, nice clean flow line. Just a little tiny thin skiff of grease buildup under the water line there. Which, relative to most homes, this is, I mean, just about spotless clean. And if you are new to home ownership, I've been doing this 13 years. I've cambered almost 25,000 sewer lines at this point. I've done a lot of drain cleaning, repairs, all that good stuff. At this point in my career, I am more concerned about thick grease buildup than I am a lot of structural issues, especially in plastic pipe. Those smooth pipe walls really mitigate buildup nicely. Anyhow, if you dump a lot of cooking oil and grease down the line, this comes from almost entirely the cooking process. It builds up in your line, it turns it into a sticky mess, and it causes stuff to get hung up in the line that would otherwise make its way to the main. And when you do get a blockage, or if it ever does happen anyway, they block much more effectively. It's less likely that your run-of-the-mill little toilet paper blockage will turn into a full-on sewer event rather than break loose on its own. Now, this is a very good example of how to treat your line right here. You obviously want to keep the obvious stuff out of the line. Paper towels, baby wipes, flushable wipes I include in the improper category too. If you're going to use them at all, you want to use them one at a time and flush them separately from everything else. I don't recommend replacing your toilet paper with them if you're going to do that. You want to kind of make it the last wipe, but they are... They function reasonably well in plastic pipe, as long as you're not flushing too many at a time. Anyhow, we've reached the main here at about 62 feet. We're going to go locate the camera head really quick here while the line drains out. And we'll have another look at everything as we come back in. So far, very nice looking sewer line. Alrighty, located the camera head successfully. Line terminates out on Southeast 158th Avenue. The line here, if you draw a straight line from the clean out to the middle of the road, the line essentially runs in that route. It meanders around a little bit, but overall it's pretty fairly straight shot out to the street. Anyway, best way to keep your line clean, other than keeping improper items out of it, that's kind of the rule of thumb I tell most people. If you have enough grease or oil on your frying pans, if you were to turn that pan sideways, if it runs off the pan in beads, basically flows off the pan, it's not just a little film, at that point you want to do something about it. And that's what these folks are doing here. You want to let the pans cool down, wipe it out with a paper towel, pour the grease into a jar. You don't want to pour it into a garbage can. When it's hot, you'll melt a hole through the garbage can. So just let it cool down, you can scrape it off, make lardo out of it, fire starters, whatever you want. If it's a thin little coating of Pam spray, hot water and soap handles that just fine. And one of the keys to keeping it clean, if you know some level of grease and oil is getting down there, is always use hot water and let your hot water run for about a full minute after your last dish was washed. That helps to ensure that everything remains melted and emulsified until it gets to the main. That hot water trick works very nicely through the crawl space because that pipe is generally, it's above the ground. Once it hits the exterior where it's buried underground and cold all the time, that stuff starts to rapidly cool down. The water starts to rapidly cool down. That's carrying the grease with it, and as does the grease. So it's a little trick you can do to help make sure that junk ends up somewhere other than your own sewer line. Now this thing looks fantastic. There are like almost no signs of life in here. Alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and flip the camera around here. As you can see, the line does a little bit of a zig and a zag. By the time I hit the main though and look back at the house, I'm lined up fairly nicely with the clean out. We're gonna run backwards here through the foundation wall. We'll see if you got an update here end to end or not. Everything on the exterior, that's the stuff I mainly focus on. This is kind of bonus scoping here, as most of this is exposed piping that the home inspector can look at. A lot of times on this era of home, you get one or the other. Either the interior is done or the outside. In this case, it looks like you're getting both, which is pretty cool. It's a spendy update you're not having to deal with. Cool. They ran it all the way through. So that, what all that exists from the original days is this right here. So that light at the end of the tunnel there you're looking at, we're actually facing up at the sky right now. If I kept on going, my camera would pop out on the rooftop. That's the main roof vent we're looking up through. So really all that exists from the original cast iron, is at least as it relates to the main line, is the vent stack, which is very typically left in place. That stuff there can last for a very, very long time, as it's not really, the only water that really gets down it for the most part is rainwater. Sometimes you'll have a sink fixture tie-in just above where my camera stopped there. Anyway, that's a fantastic looking sewer line. Great flow end to end. It was beautifully installed. There is not a drop of standing water anywhere in the sewer line. Everything structurally is in good condition, and to boot, it's incredibly clean. Rarely do you get all of those things. Sewer line is functioning properly at this time. That one's a sewer line to be proud of right there. That thing looks fantastic. So as the line makes its way out here to the road, in case you're curious, this is kind of that little round, kind of half cul-de-sac looking thing here. The line runs across the curb, probably about where that little tree is or near it. You can see where the concrete's been replaced there. I haven't located every inch of this thing, but that's kind of approximately about where things are running there. Pretty darn straight. Now, if you have any plans, in fact, I'll show you this really quick here. I can tell someone did this at one point, and this might have what caused the line to get updated. That looks like a planter that used to be there. I would highly recommend not planting any trees in this area. That tree at the curb already runs a risk of plowing through the transition joint, where the line transitions from ABS to PVC. Those are your weakest joints in the line. And of course, there are always street trees right near those. Anyway, you go parking stuff too near your sewer line here, you just kind of run the risk of getting a route through a perfectly good sewer line. So if you're going to plant anything, I'd keep it far over there, if at all.